Well, it's great to have you on, and you speak all over the place, and you write and you talk about these concepts. But let's sort of delve into this concept of definition of love. Why do we need to define love? I mean, isn't it just like a feeling that either I feel or I don't feel?
That's a fantastic. When I first came to Asia Torah, I met Rav Noach. He talked about that. That was like that's like the light bulb go off. Because you go up in the Western world and everything's a feeling, and you can't define love. That's a big theme, and he made it very clear that love is very clear, and there's a definition. And he pointed out love is the emotion we have when we focus on somebody's virtues. He was great. Everything had to be defined by him. He was a very articulate, intellectual kind of person. And when you have the definition of something, you have control over it. You can manage it. It's the same as a computer. For a lot of people, it's just a black box which just like does things. But if you know how it works, you can master it. The same thing with emotions.
So let's delve into that. So the famous Rav Noach, principle of Noach, for those who are unfamiliar, of Noach Weinberg is the founder of Asia Torah, and he has a famous series on so many things. One of them was love. And so Rabbi Rav Noach would define love as the emotion you feel when you focus on the virtues of others.
That's right.
So let's sort of like walk through that. How does that apply? I mean, take me through the scenario in which someone says, I want to increase love. How does Rav Noach say to go about do it? How does Rav Noach say to what to avoid? How does it work?
Well, he used to have a thing called the love game, and it's very powerful, especially because I do it in my marriage seminar, and you sit opposite each other, and you make a list of say 5 virtues. I adapted a little bit from Rav Noach, but I'll give you my version, but it's included in his version. And what you do is you sit opposite each other and you go through the virtues in tandem, right? So, your wife would say, I love you, Charlie, because you're the best looking guy out there.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Anytime. I'm trying to give your wife some lines here.
I appreciate that. I'll feed that to her. I'll make sure she's watching.
And then you report back. You say, and when you focus on people's virtues and you identify them, you experience love, and we all have that. Whenever it is people we like, we can identify why it is we like them, and the opposite is also true. If you focus on people's problems, issues, you're going to hate them.
It's fascinating about what you're saying, and I love it, and I'll tell you why. Because this is why we're doing the show, right? Like in that, when you live in a life and you think that love is just this emotion that you can't put your hands on.
That's right.
Then some days you feel it, some days you don't. Like you find like you hear words like I've fallen in love. You know what I'm saying? You're like, what does it even mean? Like with whom and how? And you're trying to capture things.
Right.
But what you're saying is no, stop. You can actually capture it and actually bring it a lot more in your life if you just know how to like manipulate the system.
In the good old days, remember the good old days, you had LPs, remember that? Was that before your time?
Maybe.
Long playing records, and you'd have
it's before my time.
Before your time, I'm sorry. So you'd have the guy would sing, the first song was I love you so much, I love you so much, and the last song was I can't stand you anymore.
Right. By the time he got to the end of the record, he was done. Exactly. He loved somebody else so much.
Which one is it?
So I really want people to put this into practice. So I'd love to give everybody, myself included, sort of like real work. Like, let's walk away from the show and be like, wait, I really want to like play with this a little bit. So what I'm hearing you say is that this isn't, sort of like a metaphor, or this isn't some fleeting emotion. This is real stuff. This is intellectual stuff, which is, if I define it, which is why we do this, then I can now try to test it. So I would love to suggest, and tell me if this is a good idea, for this Shabbat, for somebody, whether they do it in person, it doesn't have to be even a spouse, right? It could be a friend, it could be before Shabbat, whatever it is. If what you're saying is like this, if you pick somebody in your life, and if you're watching the show, just do it now. Pick someone in your life and identify, let's say 3, because 5 can take a little bit long. We want to make sure people are still paying attention to the show, right? We're with the next guest. So take three traits that they represent that you love about them.
Right.
And what they should be experiencing is some heightened maybe feeling or awareness that Rav Noach would say that is the path, or that is love.
Exactly. Now, if you want to go a little deeper on that,
Let's do it.
okay, hang on, everybody. So pick virtues that you don't have.
Oh, that's even better.
Right?
That's good, Rabbi.
Okay. Now, what you'll find is fascinating is the virtues that you don't have are the reasons that person drives you crazy.
Huh.
You see, let's say, for instance, you love your spouse, for instance, which is a good person to love, right? And you love them because they're very organized. And I'm not very organized.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. They're so organized. But that reason I'm not organized is because I'm not willing to put the time in and put things where they need to go. I'm not willing to do that. And therefore, my wife drives me nuts because she's telling me to put things where they should go. And she's upset when I don't put things where they go. So the thing that I love about her is the very thing that is also annoying about her.
Very good. Very good. And when you identify that thing as love,
right.
Now in your brain, you've attached a positive connection to that which would on a normal day
right.
bring negative emotions.
That's exactly right. Right.
Awesome.
And when you do it in a class, people start to realize
awesome.
It's a package deal. If I want someone who's organized, I'm gonna have to
clean up, right?
You're gonna have to get the other one, right? You can't have one without the other.
Yeah. And even, and let's take it one step further, because I know we have, I would stay here the whole time until this thing gets done, but we have the rest of the show to go to. Even so, that in fact, the fact that you have someone that is not like you, actually, again, it doesn't have to be spouse. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be colleagues. Expand it out to your life.
Right.
The fact that they're in your life actually rounds you out.
That's right. That's
amazing.
Right. They're the missing part.
Thanks so much for watching. For more content, like and subscribe, and be sure to tune in live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern at theshabbatshow.com or right here on YouTube.